The Speaking Statements, the podcast of statements about the 50 U.S. states. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for alerts for when a new episode is released.
Hello, listeners. We're glad to have you for the middle episode of season 3 today because we have a senator of a state that I'm going to interview today. I'm supposed to announce Senator Heidi Heitkamp to talk about North Dakota today. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, sweetie. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've got 5 questions about North Dakota. My first question is, tell me about a common place visited in North Dakota.
Probably the most common place that's visited in North Dakota is in the western part of our state. It's a part of our state called the Badlands, and part of the Badlands is the Teddy Roosevelt National Park. So we have a national park, a north and south unit, and in the park, or just outside of the park, is a town called Medora. And Medora has historic significance because it was the place that Teddy Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, stayed. And he often says that he would never have been president without living in North Dakota. And that's the part of our state that's most visited. But I wish people would take a little time to visit the eastern part of the state, the Pembina Gorge, and a lot of the prairie potholes. The whole state is very beautiful, but most of the tourists who come so they can see the Badlands and Theodore Roosevelt National Park.
Good answer. My second question is, what foods are North Dakota known for?
I mainly beef a lot. We eat a lot of steak because we raise a lot of cattle, but we also have a couple heritages in North Dakota. One is Scandinavian and the other one's German. And so, if you're going to talk about ethnic food in North Dakota, the German heritage would be Fleshkikla, Kugen. A lot of people eat Nefla soup, which is a kind of a chicken noodle soup only with dumplings. And if you're looking at Norwegian food, it tends to be really bland and pretty horrible. And I can say that because I'm part Norwegian. So it is things like lutefisk, which is fish that they put in lye, and a lot of meatballs, and a lot of really, really pretty cookies that they make in Scandinavia. So, we eat a lot of steak and potatoes, a lot of, kind of comfort foods like hot dishes. About 7% of the people who live in North Dakota are Native American, and they have things like bullet and bangs and fried bread and puchin, and they eat a lot of fresh berries and a lot of fresh vegetables. And so there is a whole culture that goes with a whole food culture that goes with Native American people.
What's a lie?
Lye is it's like a chemical. And back in the day in Norway, when they needed to preserve fish, instead of drying it all the time, they put it in lye. The lye is used typically in soaps. It's very caustic. Do you understand what caustic is, Jillian?
Not really.
Well, it's not very fun. So a lot of your listeners will know what lye is, but that's what lutefisk is, and it's really vile, horrible stuff.
Well, I could spit my tongue out for that.
A lot of people eat it on holidays and church suppers because it's part of their tradition, but I don't know anyone who likes it.
I wouldn't know anyone either, unless it's an animal that eats chemicals for its whole life. My third question is, what do North Dakota and South Dakota don't have in common and have in common?
North Dakota is a big energy state. We have a lot of coal and oil and gas and a lot of resources that are mined here. South Dakota does not have our resources. And so they are more agriculture. They've got a big industry in financial services. And South Dakota and North Dakota are really similar in terms of their agriculture, but North Dakota is blessed with a few more natural resources that are mined and provide a lot of wealth to our state.
My fourth question is, What is Bismarck like?
It's beautiful. Bismarck is one of the most beautiful cities in the whole wide world. And when you're driving into Bismarck from the east or even from the west, you're driving into a valley because the Missouri River, which I'm sure you've heard of, the Missouri River runs right past Bismarck and separates two cities called Bismarck and Mandan. And so you're driving into a beautiful valley with a beautiful river, lots of trees, and in the horizon are some of the hills to the south, which is a kind of mini Badland. And so when you go south from Bismarck, you will be in the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, the Lakota people. And that is a beautiful part of the state because it's right in the river valley.
Ah, good. I would like to go to Bismarck sometime.
Well, you let me know when you come because we'll show you around.
Okay, my fifth question is, what do you see out your window when you're going from North Dakota to Canada?
You see a lot of prairie potholes. Do you know what a prairie pothole is?
No.
Okay, so North Dakota is famous for migratory birds and a lot of water. We have a lot of fresh water in North Dakota. When the glacier, you know how the glaciers came down during the Ice Age? Glaciers went all the way into the United States, and a lot of North Dakota was covered by glaciers. And when the glaciers receded, they left places called prairie potholes, and they're little wetlands. They can be big wetlands or little wetlands, and they're really significant for migratory birds habitat. And so what you would see is a lot of water, a lot of farm crops in the summer. In the winter, you'd see a lot of snow, but you would see beautiful sunsets and beautiful horizons. And so North Dakota is bordered by Manitoba and Saskatchewan to the north. And those provinces we consider just as important as Montana, Minnesota, and South Dakota. They're our neighbors, and a lot of people in North Dakota have a lot of relatives in Canada, particularly Saskatchewan, because it's where the people from what we call Germans from Russia, who were Germans who moved to Ukraine, interestingly enough, and settled there to be farmers. And when Russia started putting them in the army against their wishes, they migrated to the United States. And some of the only farmland left was some of the farmland that's in North Dakota and Canada. And so there's a big population of these people who have that as their heritage in North Dakota and going all the way up into Canada. We also have a lot of tribes who have relatives across the border. So we really consider Canada as a really important neighbor for our state.
Wow, that was a big answer. I'm done with my questions. We're glad to have you here to talk about North Dakota.
Thank you so much for having me. And you're welcome anytime. And any of your listeners who want to see a beautiful place should come to North Dakota. And I want to make one final point. Because North Dakota is a little more remote, a lot of people, when they say, I've been to every state except one, that one state that they haven't been to is North Dakota. And so what we've done in North Dakota is we have a whole club called the 50 State Club. And if you come here and it's your 50th state that you visited, we give you a t-shirt and a certificate announcing that North Dakota is the best of all the 50 states.
Wow, I don't know if other states believe that, but I'm glad you believe it about your state.
I love
Bye.
my state. Bye,
Bye.
honey.
Now we'll do the notes. It borders 3 states, which are Montana, South Dakota, and Minnesota. It also borders another country called Canada. The biggest cities are Fargo, Bismarck, Bismarck's the capital, Grand Forks, Mandan, and Minot. Fargo is the biggest. It became a state in 1889. It's the 39th state. Every year, the U.S. and World Championship turtle races take place in North Dakota in Turtle Lake. People have lived in North Dakota for thousands of years. North Dakota is known for its farmland and large cattle ranches. It has rich, fertile soil. the Red River Valley is the lowest and flattest area in North Dakota. Now we'll do the fast facts with Leo. Go on, Leo.
What is the state tree?
Probably the American elm.
What is the state flower?
Wild prairie rose.
What is the state bird?
It's gonna be the western meadowlark.
What is the state fish?
It's the northern pike.
What is the state beverage?
Milk.
What is the state dance?
Probably the square dance.
What is the state march?
Flicktail march.
What is the state insect?
Convergent lady beetle.
What is the state fruit?
It's the choke cherry. Bye, Leo.
Bye.
And last but not least, we have the quarter, which is 2 bisons munching on grass in the sunlight. That's all for today. We'll check for our next episode. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Speaking Statements.